Welcome to Behind Enemy Lines. I'm Michael, and sitting in for Terry tonight is Noah Herod from Roman Strategies. How you doing this evening? Now I'm all out of place. How you doing this evening, Noah?
I'm doing good. By the way, Roman, I came up with that name for my son, so you can call me Roman anytime you want. It's a cool name. But I'm doing good. We're closing in on the primary for Illinois. It's right around the corner next week, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, we got as usual. There's always more shenanigans going on in Illinois, so let's just dive right into it. Starting here. Police report. Victim says DuPage sheriff candidate Eddie Moore smelled of alcohol after February incident. Yeah, I'm not surprised there. But you know what? I'll go ahead and bring the next one up too, because surprise, surprise, DuPage undersheriff cleared in crash that injured pedestrian. Now, I am shocked that once again, law enforcement will investigate themselves and, of course, conclude that they did nothing wrong. You know, just like when the feds do it.
Sure. Yeah, no, and this is a case where it's not necessarily he did something egregiously wrong, but as an undersheriff, as a law enforcement officer, there's certain things you have to do. And even if you barely tap somebody, it's always a good idea, one, to cover your own butt, and two, just because it's the right thing to do to notify the police. And like I said, the smelling of alcohol could be hearsay. Him and his wife did switch seats. I don't know if there's much validity to that, but it just doesn't look good. And right before a primary election, and not only that, if Moore wins, and Moore and Noonan both have a good chance of winning, so I'm excited to see who's going to win that election. However, that's giving Democrats ammo, and that's the kind of ammo Democrats will use to crush somebody in a general election. And DuPage County won. By the way, guys, amazing sheriff, Sheriff Mendrick, very awesome sheriff. However, that seat has been held by Republicans for almost 100 years now. With that kind of ammo in a general election, the Democrats could possibly take the DuPage County sheriff's seat, and that would be dangerous. DuPage County is the second largest county in Illinois. It's a county we should keep a Republican in as sheriff. So, these tedious events and these mess ups, we're failing uphill, and we don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is the thing that that kills me with this. So I went and looked this up earlier. So if somebody's injured in an accident, you're required to notify law enforcement immediately. And sorry, I keep looking down because I had this on my phone earlier. I had the statute pulled up, and now I don't have it handy. I looked up something else. So, as a police officer, he certainly would have known this. This isn't like a little tiny fender bender or the scratch on the other car. Like, you know what? Let's not get our insurance involved. That way our rates don't go up. I'll just pay for the damages, that kind of thing. I think most people would kind of understand that. But you hit somebody and they were injured to the point where they needed medical attention. When we hear there were tire marks on the poor guy, you should probably call law enforcement. If this guy, the story we got is he didn't speak English. They asked him repeatedly if he wanted help or wanted whatever, but nobody was called. I mean, it should have been done reactively. As soon as you hit a person, you should be calling 911 and calling, and it'd be better to call back and cancel the ambulance if they're just fine or whatever. At least that way they're already on the way. As again, you don't know. This guy could have fallen, hit his head, broken his brain, and be in the hospital in intensive care in a coma still right now. I mean, that's obviously not what happened. But the fact that you hit a person with your vehicle, intoxicated or otherwise, but you didn't call the cops, that should be a huge red flag.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, these are avoidable mistakes, right? And last thing we want, like I said, circling back, is in the general election this coming up, or the Democrats going to this guy that he allegedly hit and using him as propaganda, using him as a talking piece. It's just something we don't need. And no quarrels, no personal quarrels with Eddie Moore. Just, he did go on a podcast and say under no circumstances would he cooperate with ICE, and that's my only thing. Illinois is a sanctuary city, and ICE need to cooperate with ICE. And I think we have over 300,000 illegal aliens in the city of Chicago alone. They're using Medicaid. They're using our food stamps instead of minority families that actually need it in the inner cities. They get a housing allowances. We've paid over two. Brandon Johnson, the great mayor of Chicago, worst mayor in history, allocated $2.5 billion in taxpayer money to fund the illegal immigration the last 2 years. So this is something we need to be nipping in the butt. And when we have somebody going against the Democrats in this general, we need somebody that they can't go back on and point out mistakes and bring stuff up like this.
Yeah, and again, find your testicles. I don't care if it is a sanctuary state. Push back against it. Don't say, "Oh, we're not going to cooperate with ICE." No, 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 can't do that. Maybe you should, declare your county independent of their sanctuary status and cooperate with ICE. Let them fight you in the courts. Again, there's federal supremacy. Maybe people would get behind that fight, and then we could change something. So, again, I don't live in the People's Republic of Illinois, but man, you guys are just screwed there at this point. I mean, it's terrible. You got to get better candidates. You got to get better people. Now, Terry had a couple FOIAs on this incident too, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring these up. And if you could, Noah, I am less familiar with this particular case. If you could give us a rundown on these.
Sure. So, allegedly, the first time, there was an incident, I believe it was 3 to 4 years ago with Eddie Moore. And I don't know what was said. I don't know what was done, but from the FOIAs, he was out with his wife, and someone referred to him as a racial slur, which nobody should do that. Nobody has the right to say that to him. I would have been pretty upset myself. And there was an altercation where a security guard got caught in the middle. The security guard ended up getting injured, and then Eddie Moore was not officially arrested, fingerprinted and mugshot, but he was served the notice to appear and charged in the case. Which, hey, one off, whatever. And then recently on Valentine's Day, he was at Gibson's Steakhouse with his wife, and probably enjoying a nice day on Valentine's Day. And as he went to leave, he accidentally hit a bystander who ended up being a busboy with Gibson's, and didn't notify the police. He alleged that he did ask the busboy, "Do you want me to call an ambulance? Do you want me to call the cops?" The busboy said no. However, being a sheriff, when there's anybody involved in a motor vehicle accident of any scale, you have to call. So I think it was a mistake on his part. I think he regrets it, but those are mistakes you can't keep making.
Yeah, and then to clarify real quick, because I just glanced at these FOIAs, these FOIAs that Terry Newsom obtained are both regarding or all 3 pages, I should say, are regarding the incident at Gibson. So I did misspeak earlier, so I want to correct that. But these are information from the police reports as to what happened there. But, like I said earlier, surprise, surprise, there's an investigation. Nothing was done wrong, blah, blah, blah. And that's the part that really annoys me. At the very least, they could, issue some kind of a reprimand for not following procedure and at least calling in the accident. I mean, to me, it seems simple enough, but what would I know? I'm only a doctor. I want to pull up this other thing you sent me the other day, and this is from your local, was it WGN up there in Chicago?
Yeah,
WGN. Yeah, so if you guys can see there on the bottom of the screen, you might have to squint really hard if you're on your phone. It might be a little difficult, but it looks like they accidentally ran some primary results on a WGN. 100% reporting. Darren Bailey with 50% of the vote, 437,480 votes. Ted Dubrowski with 27% of the vote, 234,194 votes. How did they get this? Do you guys have time travelers working at WGN?
No, so it's really interesting. So what they ended up doing, they said they were doing they were testing the polls. Well,
Oh,
the average
yeah.
yeah, the average voter is not going to look at that and think, "Oh, they're testing the polls." Most voters don't even know, that aren't really inundated in politics, but that do their American duty to still vote. They don't know about, a lot of these pollings, and they don't know a testing poll that's going to put out actual numbers and numbers down to an exact a detailed number. So this is what they're doing. WGN, the leftist media in Chicago, they want Darren Bailey to get another go at Pritzker. Last time around in 2022, Darren Bailey lost by 558,000 votes, over 500,000. It's not a bridge. It's not a bridge you can gap. It just won't happen. If he was behind 70, 80, 90, maybe even 100,000 votes, okay, there's some campaign strategies where you can get those votes, where you can pull those votes, but over 500,000 votes, you're not going to do that. But WGN knows, Pritzker knows, the left knows that if they get Darren Bailey in there again, it's a sure victory. And just for the record, I have nothing against Darren Bailey. As a consultant, I just look at numbers, I look at probabilities. Past dictates future. It's just not going to happen. And by the way, this would be a hard general for anybody to win. But I look at someone like Sheriff Mendrick or Rick Heidner or Dabrowski. They have a better chance up north than pulling those moderate votes. Darren Bailey got beat by 35 points in the Illinois suburbs. That's just not a bridge you can gap at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I feel really bad for the people of Illinois right now because, if you want somebody to win, you need to have somebody that's really catching fire, somebody that has real popular support. And it's back and forth depending on what poll you believe. Different people are ahead with different percentages of the votes. I don't know that you can really trust too many of the polls that I've seen out of there, but I'm not. I'm not forced to live in the People's Republic of Illinois. But yeah, I mean, you guys really need a strong candidate, somebody that is a fighter that will get the base actually interested, get them out there doing something. Because I do think there are good candidates running in different races there, but every one of them I talk to tells me the exact same thing. It's that they are struggling to get volunteers. Even when they talk to people, they don't seem enthused about the race or excited. They're expecting to lose. Donations are scarce. It's hard to bring to get any kind of real money that you're going to need to beat a billionaire like Pritzker, and that's the real problem. Is and it's a combination of things up there. It's the GOP in Illinois is just absolutely worthless. They are a bunch of
Yep.
yellow-bellied, pickle-kissing losers that are not there to fight or give the candidates the kind of support they really need. They are not there rallying the base. They aren't pushing the issues. They are not aggressive. They're used to the good old days of reaching across the aisle and working with the Democrats. And people are sick and tired of that. They want somebody that's
Yeah.
going to change things, especially with as bad as Illinois is right now on so many different levels.
Yeah, and there's this kiss the ring policy in Illinois with the GOP. It's really a uniparty. Just for example, there's a great candidate running for governor. His name's Rick Heidner. He's the American dream. He grew up with nothing. He was scrubbing toilets by 6 years old, delivering newspapers by 7, doing everything he could to provide for his single mom home. And he becomes a billionaire. He creates a massive empire with real estate. He gets into the casino business. He gets into a lot of businesses. And, I'm looking at it, I'm like, whoa, we got a Chicago version of Trump here. And that's who the GOP is going at the hardest. Well, he donated to Democrats. Okay, one, when you're a businessman, you have to play with both sides of the aisle. I'm sorry. Anyone that says you don't is a liar. You have to get
Yeah.
along with both sides. And if I'm electing somebody, I want them to be able to make deals and get deals done with both sides of the aisle. So, we get a good candidate like that, Donald Trump all over again, and they're alienating him. They're doing the same thing the Bush senior GOP did to Trump. So it's just sad to see because we have a lot of good candidates. Look at Tedora Brown out of the U.S. 11th congressional district.
Yeah.
She had to fight all the way, spend almost $30,000 to get to the appellate court because they challenged her signatures. Luckily, Tedora is such a fighter, she got those signatures overturned. Luckily, Tedora really cares about her community. She's another person. She's a builder. She builds homes. She's an entrepreneur. She's got that business savvy mindset, and that's what Illinois needs right now. Illinois doesn't need these chicken neck pot bellied losers that aren't going to do anything for our state and just want to shake hands with the other side of the aisle. We need fighters.
Pretty much. Yeah, if you guys want to save the state, you're going to have to, find some aggressive candidates, people that will actually do it. Because between your property taxes, the crime, the sanctuary state, and everything else, like I don't know how you guys get out of this hole without real leadership there. I got an update, breaking news. Once again, it is now confirmed that the Religion of Peace has struck again. Amon Mohammed Ghazali, Gazale, I don't know, is the attacker at the synagogue up in Michigan, and I think I've lost count. I don't know if this is either number 7 or number 8 for Islamic attacks on U.S. soil so far this year, most of which not been like widely successful, but yeah, we're either on number 7 or 8 just since January 1st, guys. Religion of Peace doing its thing like it always does.
Yeah, and we have the left. we have the left defending these people. Let's talk about the leftist lunatics. And I will
Yes.
say this: the biggest danger to the United States of America is the white liberal, because they push all these things. They hype all these people up and get them to do crazy things. You look at these jihadis and these people that are coming from absolute terroristic countries. They're dangerous, and they don't care
Yep.
if they die in the process. And it's hard to fight an enemy that doesn't care if they die. And that circles back to the Biden open border. You know how many military age fighting males came across our southern border during the Biden administration? They have sleeper cells everywhere around the country, and that's really dangerous right now. And here we have the left backing them up. The left trying to help them with anything. It's literally like chickens
Well,
picketing for Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's the most wild thing I've ever seen, Mike.
yeah, well, we got confirmation of another one, another religion of peace. ISIS linked Mohammed Baylor Jalal, ID'd as Old Dominion gunman, sought out ROTC before opening fire. So this was on Thursday, killed a retired military officer. 36 stormed in the classroom outside ODU's Constant Hall and asked if it was an ROTC class. When someone confirmed it was, he launched a surprise terror attack, shooting the professor several times. Law enforcement say a heroic ROTC candidate at the Virginia school jumped into action to prevent more carnage, stabbing him to death. So good. At least they protected their own there. And again, somebody pin a medal on that guy. But once again, the religion of peace shows their true colors and strikes out again to attempt to kill Americans. Something's got to be done about this. You know, it's escalating right now because all these jihadis are upset that we're in Iran eliminating the Islamic terrorist government there. But we're going to see more of this. You know, California is under threat right now, or the whole West Coast, even though I don't know that Iran's really got the capability to launch a mass drone strike. But we have so many people within our own borders. It's a constant threat. You leave the borders open for 4 years under Biden. We've got at least 18,000 people with known terrorist ties. And guess what, Chicago? A lot of them are in your backyard. So good luck there. You better keep your head on a swivel. Let's go ahead and pull our next story here. Again, this is unbelievable. Illinois' guaranteed income advocates push for a permanent statewide cash handout program. Well, if your taxes weren't high enough, get ready for them to go up again, especially if they push this through, because they ain't got no money. They're already running a deficit. So they certainly don't have any money for a universal basic income program for your state. And, you know, I bet it's going to be very expensive to administer something like that. So they're going to need to hire a lot of Democrats to oversee handing out that cash.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just another tactic in Illinois. You know, we're gonna hand out money. You're gonna depend on the government, and guess who's gonna foot the bill for it? The working middle class.
Yep.
And by the way, anybody who's voted Democrat or anybody's in the middle who's not necessarily MAGA but tired of having their pocketbook drained, vote Republican. At least you'll have a couple more bucks in your pocket, and you'll have a better, robust economy and lower taxes. I mean, this is just crazy. Trump won't even give JB's out here crying and stomping his foot for a federal bailout. Well, why does he need a federal bailout? Because your governor has used and abused the Illinois taxpayers and made them foot the bill for everything, and made them foot the bill for illegal immigration, which is $2.5 billion on its own. I mean, Mike, when's the piggy bank going to stop? We the people are not a piggy bank.
No, it isn't going to stop because that's the way of life for these people, for these leftists. Look at what just happened in Virginia. Spanberger ran on affordability. That was her entire plea to the state. The Democrats just voted themselves to a pay increase, not like 8, 9, 10%, keeping up with inflation. Though they shouldn't be doing that right now either with how the country's struggling. No, they're tripling their pay, a 300% increase because they deserve it. It's awfully hard being a socialist communist there and wrecking the state, destroying the economy, persecuting gun owners, and everything else they want to accomplish there in Virginia. Now that they've seized control, total domination there. And again, I expect it. If you're in a blue state, expect more pain because you're not smart enough to vote for people that aren't going to screw you over. So this is the consequences of those actions. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm out of sympathy. I know we're not supposed to be like that, but when New York votes in somebody like Zorhan Mamdani, when he can't get his way and increase taxes, when Hochul tells him no, he's now increasing, doing a 9% tax increase across the board, and he's raiding the pension fund for all the state employees because all these pipe dreams he sold the voters when he ran, they'll never be able to fund those. That's never going to happen. But he's got to at least pretend he's going to accomplish something. He might not be able to make the buses free since they're a private company, but he can raid your pension fund. You can bet your bottom dollar in just a few short years when it runs out of cash, they're going to have to sue. And then watch, you and I, the taxpayer at the federal level, will end up bailing out the pension fund because we can't let all these poor New Yorkers that were police officers and firefighters and government employees, we can't let them suffer because of our poor decision making, voting in Zorhan Mamdani. I mean, I really do feel bad for the public employees that are going to get screwed by this, but we shouldn't be footing the bill for it. Your
No.
dumbasses voted in Zorhan Mamdani, and he raided the pension fund. You guys didn't sue him and stop him or do anything else. So it's not my problem. Fight in the streets and take your state back, take your city back, and stop this insanity.
Yeah, and we've seen this across the board already, Mike. I'll give you an example. Without getting into too much detail, my dad lived in Chicago his whole life. My dad's a 30-year law enforcement veteran. He retired in 2021. They still are not able to give him his pension. Over 30 years of law enforcement. Putting his
Sounds
life on
about
the
right.
line every day, raised a family, raised me and my brother. Um, just absolutely insane. Has been in public service. So guys, if you keep voting Democrat, if you have friends, family, they don't care what money they spend. They take money from programs and put it to where it's not supposed to be. The Democratic machine is full of kickbacks. And here it is 4 or 5 years later, and my dad still hasn't seen his retirement. And if you guys don't think it can happen to you, you're dead wrong, or happen to a family member, because I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah. Well, you guys are even more screwed already in Illinois. So I just pulled this back up so I could give you the right numbers. In Illinois, right now, you're as of 2023. So actually, I guess it's even worse now, I would assume. But you're already at $211 billion in unfunded liabilities as of July 2023. So they have roughly $218 billion in assets on hand, but they have 429 billion in liabilities. So sorry, it's unfunded liabilities is unfunded liabilities of 211 billion with a B dollars. But forget that. Forget straightening out the books there, giving people the retirement they were promised. We have illegal aliens that we need to house, that we need to feed, and we need to cover their medical costs and everything else. We can't expect them to work, and God forbid we deport them. I mean, after all, we're relying on their warm bodies being here in our state when the next census happens. So maybe we can retain some of the political power we should have lost from the exodus of actual Illinoisans leaving the state and going elsewhere because it's turning into a shithole. A communist shithole reaching into their wallets. There are no jobs. There is essentially no real law enforcement. They're just doing catch and release and letting the criminals out. So people don't want to be in an environment like that. But the illegal aliens will stay there, especially if they pay them. And that's much more important than funding your pension. At least that's the message that Johnson and others are sending right now. So again, you guys should be in open revolt right now. I don't really understand why you aren't.
Yeah, and Illinoisans, you guys got to realize this. Pritzker's making you foot the bill twice for
Yeah.
these illegal aliens. The first time he's using your tax money that he taxed you on to fund these programs for these illegal aliens, to fund their housing, to fund their Medicaid, to fund. Some of them have housing and car allowances. And then you're funding it the second time because after all that money's ran out, and it's already ran out by now. Now he's going to tax you more because he can't get a federal bailout from Trump because Trump sees JB. He's wasting money on illegal immigrants. He's allocating money to illegal immigrants. He's not giving it to the citizens of Illinois. He's not giving it to the citizens of Chicago. If JB had any financial sense, Chicago produces a huge amount of money every year, tens of billions of dollars. We're one of the #1 tourism places in the world. Illinois is a booming economy if we would just use the damn money right, but we're not. So when illegals have programs they need so Pritzker can get their vote, he funds it with your tax dollars. And then when taxes go up, you have to fund it again. If you're tired of that, vote Republican on March 17th.
Yep. And otherwise, I don't want to hear about it when your skate goes belly up and nobody's getting their pension money, and you have lifelong government employees. They're having to eat cat food and living in a cardboard box. I don't want to hear about it. You guys had plenty of chances to fix this. You've elected people that have chosen not to. Though they've tried to pressure Johnson and others um, to get into this audit and release that, make it public. It's not happening. There's no enforcement. There's no effort of enforcement. And we haven't even got to all the other scams that I'm sure that are going on of people in Illinois stealing your federal tax dollars, just like in Little Mogadishu, north of you guys, Minnesota, for those of you who are uninitiated. Let's go ahead and pull up one more story where you guys are going to get stuck foot in the bill. And that is cha-ching, financial filings reveal massive grift at the Obama Foundation. And man, you guys are going to have one ugly eyesore in your backyard. I feel sorry for the people that live in that neighborhood. But again, this is apparently what you guys wanted, or somebody did. But yeah, again, and this is a lot of this. There's been numerous accusations of corruption, of payoffs, of even money laundering and other things that have gone on with the Obama Foundation and this building specifically. But I don't live in Chicago. I don't live in Illinois, so it's not my problem. But I've been hearing this for a while. But other figures are now saying that six-figure salaries, the number of employees has ballooned to more than 300 people, that they were making let's say Valerie Jarrett, who was the Senator's Parish, was making $740,000 per year running this foundation. And again, you guys are going to get stuck picking up a lot of the cost on this building once it's finished. Publicly owned Chicago Parkland, paid its CAO. Okay, this is just getting into the massive salaries. But the annual cost is expected to balloon to $210 million with staff and everything else that's affiliated with this presidential library that's going up.
Well, let me tell Chicagoans and Illinoisans and inner city Chicagoans this. Because Obama, who pretends to care about you guys and want to help where he's from Chicago. He doesn't give a crap about nobody in the inner cities. Since Obama wants to have his own monument in this giant ugly library in the inner city, guess what? Your milk prices are going to go up. Your property taxes are going to go up even more than they are. Everything you pay for is going to go up because this guy, this self-loathing hypocrite, wants a building of himself in the sky in Chicago, and I think it's disgusting. How much more are you going to take, Chicago?
I got another good one for you. So apparently they can't afford to pay anybody else. So once the facility opens, they're going to be looking for 75 to 100 volunteers to work at this monstrosity free of charge. Because, God forbid they reduce the salary of one of Obama's buddies or somebody else they threw on a board or whatever. They don't want to pay the little people. Stand out there.
Yeah.
You guys are going to volunteer, but we'll continue to pay ourselves exorbitant salaries on your dime. You, the taxpayer, because they're important. We're the serfs. That's the way it is. Get used to it. And if you guys keep voting for people like this, don't expect anything to change. If you're not willing to do something different, then stop complaining about it. This is clearly what you guys want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Chicagoans, you are crazy if you think Obama or his family or a foundation of his isn't getting any kickbacks from this project. Look at the union all the way back to the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, inundated with the mob, inundated with no-show jobs, paying high salaries, like Mike said, to certain people. There's going to be kickbacks. And guess what? Obama's like all of you people who are struggling to make ends meet, who are struggling going paycheck to paycheck, are going to end up footing the bill for it, for all of his kickbacks and for his dumb little library. Chicago, I would say Chicago needs a library because our literacy rate is one of the lowest in the country. This library is nothing but for show and tell. This isn't going to help kids. There's not going to be programs at this library to help inner city children. It's all for vanity. And you guys need to wake up and understand that.
Yep. And again, it's another hideous project you guys are going to get stuck foot in the bill for. We're going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to stop bashing Illinois for a minute and instead scare the whole country about the Flock AI cameras. So, guys, it's a great article. It's up on the New American right now. Andrew Mahler, one of our other hosts here on Ex American News, his program, American Made, is on every Saturday at 5 p.m. And this episode will give you all the details on Flock. So, condition 1984, Flock AI cameras surveilling U.S. So there was an ad that ran during the Super Bowl for Ring cameras that just terrified people that own the systems, because they thought it was going to be a great way to promote themselves, to say, you know what, we're now going to access your Ring camera, and if somebody's dog or pet goes missing, they're just going to go through the neighborhood and access whoever's camera, feed that into their data center, and help them find their dog. So again, on the surface, that sounds okay. I mean, nobody wants people to lose their pet except for psychos. But yeah, now, but again, this is always how it's sold. It's for our safety. It's for the public good. Blah 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 blah. But now, Flock and Ring were also working on a partnership. Now that's been thrown out the window because of the pushback after this Super Bowl ad for Ring. Because Ring's obviously they're owned by Amazon, and Amazon just started getting flooded with, no, I don't want to participate in this. I don't want to be part of this dystopian AI surveillance system that we're gradually integrating into our communities. But Flock's 10 times worse. There's over 10,000 of these cameras so far nationwide. Those are just the ones we know about that are being reported. There is a private group, I'm sorry, I forgot to pull its name. I think it's like Anti-Flock or D-Flock or something like that, that's out there. It has a website up where you can see where these cameras are. They consider them to be terrorists. The people that are complaining about being mass surveilled. So here's the problem with these AI Flock cameras. These aren't just license plate monitors. They are linked into a police department, going to a central database, and the people that own the company, again, a bunch of globalist leftist stooges, they really want a world without crime. They think it's possible. They think that we can live in this dystopian future like Minority Report, and they can start going after people before they commit crimes, that we can run algorithms like that. So these people are already databasing your vehicles by make, model, if there's a dent on the side, what your bumper stickers are, and making profiles on everybody. There are already police departments analyzing the video using these now like traffic cameras to issue speeding tickets. And then again, not to mention all the other constant surveillance and building profiles and on each of us, keeping our driving patterns when we show up at different stores. I mean, this is creepy stuff that's getting way out of hand. And now, like I talked about this before, I've said, there probably are some like limited cases where police having surveillance cameras makes sense, having them in a high traffic or high crime area, or an area where you're constantly having accidents in the intersection. That way it gets recorded properly, and they can take action there. But we don't need mass surveillance on people's doorbells or setting up these cameras in parking lots or wherever else where the police have access to all this information. Because again, I bet your bottom dollar it's going up to the feds. They're using it too. And they are gradually building this surveillance network on all of us. And they're using private sector companies like this, so we can't FOIA them. We're not entitled to the information like we are with the federal government. So there's a sneaky way to do it. And that's exactly what's happening right now.
Absolutely, Mike. And I don't think I'd be mistaken if I didn't think there was CIA contracts or government contracts going on with these. I think it's just outright a complete overreach. The
Yeah.
government's already overreached. Last thing we want to become is like China, a surveillance state. China already has this enacted, and I think they're kind of moving the goalpost, or taking an inch at a time, seeing how far they can move this along and how much we're comfortable with. This is not okay. Last thing I want is Ring knowing everything I do. And it doesn't mean you're committing a crime or breaking a law, but how about some privacy? We have the right to privacy, and this trumps our right to privacy if they allow this to happen. So I think this needs to be nipped in the butt right away, and I would like to see a congressman or somebody put forth legislation to knock this out.
Well, the good news, in a few areas, people have been able to pressure their local law enforcement, others, to ditch this system after finding out about the AI integration and the database and everything else. But you can't trade your freedom for the illusion of safety. We should have learned our lesson about this by now, but people are dumb. A lot of them went to government schools, so I do understand. That's why they deprive you of a real education there, and they teach you more about pronouns and the weather, the climate gods, than they do reading, writing, arithmetic, and things that actually matter. It would help you to live a better life, be a better person, be more productive, and have a better country. It's all about keeping you stupid so they can stay in power.
Yep, and they'll never stop crime. They'll never stop
Yep.
crime. As long as there's men with dark hearts, there's always going to be evil and crime in the world. They can't stop that. There's ways we can mitigate it, but making us a surveillance state isn't one of those ways.
Nope. Was there anything else you wanted to cover here before we start wrapping up here?
No, I think we covered everything.
Let me see if I've got any other horrifying stories in the pipeline here that I can pull up real quick. Oh, let's see. John Thune and the Republicans failing us once again. Failure to pass the SAVE Act. Yeah, I mean that's our leadership in D.C. are just horrible. Um, and this is same day that they uncover tens of thousands of non-citizens on U.S. voter rolls. But again, what would I know? Oh, here I got a good one for you guys. Let me pull this up here. So expect to see this there in Illinois too. Caught in broad daylight. Ballot initiative signature gatherers in California caught paying for signatures, backed by billionaire PAC. So this is they're gathering up signatures against the wealth tax, which I am also against. But this is Sergey Brin, other Google founder. I'm blanking on his name. It'll come to me here in a second. And a number of other billionaires that haven't already fled the Sunshine State or sorry, not the Sunshine State, fled California to the Sunshine State for a better climate. But they are now illegally paying people to sign petitions to try to prevent this billionaires tax that Gavin Newsom wants. I mean, they shouldn't have this anyway. It's certainly not going to fix your problems. You're only going to siphon off a small amount of money. What they have to do there, just like in Illinois, is get the spending under control and start prioritizing Americans and actual services again. We really need to go and audit all these federal programs. And catch all the grifters. There are billions upon billions of dollars in fraud in California, and that's just going to be the tip of the iceberg. But the bottom line is people in power are looking the other way or orchestrating it. We know some of them are getting kickbacks. We need actual justice. We need actual enforcement for this to ever change. I just, unfortunately, don't see it happening anytime soon.
No, and the problem is with the people that first off, we need complete forensic audits into every department, every expenditure. I mean, we need it dialed in. The only problem is they're probably giving kickbacks to the people doing the forensic audits, to the people investigating. And a lot of the way they move this money is through LLCs, through shell corporations,
Yep.
through dummy holdings.
NGOs.
Yep, NGOs. That's how George Soros funds Antifa, all those wackaloons. It's really hard to prove it, and there's so much of it that it's really hard to just hone in on one department. I mean, Doge showed us that. By Doge, I remember I'd look at Doge every single day, and it would just be up a couple of billion, up a couple of billion, up a couple of billion. There's so much waste and fraud. I mean, we would need an all-around forensic audit. We need to fire everybody, hire a new team in, and we would have to Doge every state, every department at city, state, and federal levels.
Well, that's what we should do. And we should build a stadium full of nooses and guillotines and start actually penalizing the people who are ripping us off. I mean, otherwise, it isn't going to change. Unless the cost is so steep, it actually serves as a deterrent. It's just going to continue because right now, no one's getting prosecuted. Nothing's being done. The country cannot go on like this for much longer. We're already $38 trillion in debt. And how much you want to bet over the next 2 years, that's going to be well, not even that probably. The next year, we'll probably hit 40 trillion in debt. That has to end. We have to stop this. We have to get America back on a better path. It's time to actually put America first and actually make America great again. Otherwise, it's all for naught. And we're just throwing our future away. And all of humanity will descend into chaos if America crumbles.
America is the world's last beacon of hope. If we fall, everybody falls. Um, Guys, we have time to turn it around. We have time to change it, but it starts with you. And it's more than voting. It's more than commenting on Facebook. Go and knock on doors for a candidate. Go get involved in your local committee with your local committeemen. Run for school board. Run for city council. If you see something going on in your community you don't like, you show up at those meetings. Whatever it takes. These years are America's last stand. This will make or break us as a country. And I'm not trying to make anybody scared. I'm just saying how it is.
Yeah. This is our last best chance to save the greatest place on earth, humanity's one beacon of freedom, because you can bet your bottom dollar if America collapses, anything that even resembles a free nation or democracy will be immediately in the crosshair of these globalists to be eliminated so they can have their one world all-powerful government where the smartest among us, the intellectuals, will dictate to the rest of us what we have to do and how we have to live our lives. So again, guys, pray for America and get out there and fight. Find good candidates that you can actually support, get behind them, and do something to ensure they win their elections. put pressure on all these useless losers that are in positions of power at the state or the federal level to change things and actually save America, to push through the SAVE Act, to push through other legislation to criminalize sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, to demand mass deportations. We have to change things, and we are on the clock right now. We have very limited time to save our country and save the world. Thank you guys for staying, tuning in with us here tonight. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. And we'll be back next Tuesday with even more. Thank